Okay, well, let's kick off. Good morning, my name is Graham Bowers. I'm the Channel Manager here at ezyCollect, and I'm very pleased to be able to introduce Ross and Franz from Cloud Factory, who are the experts in Microsoft Business Central. Now, from the registration page, you'll know that the purpose of these webinars is not for me to talk to you about ezyCollect, for me to be able to introduce you to Ross and Franz and allow you to get a little bit of a bigger look under the bonnet of Business Central today, because you're obviously in the space, your business is growing, you're not sure which of the big ERPs you might want to look at. So as a service to our client base, because I talk to a lot of you and I hear from you a lot about how AccountRite or Xero is not really doing it for you, and where do I go to next? And so that's the purpose of this webinar series, for you to be able to just really hear from the people that know about these systems. I've worked with Ross and Franz for many years, and I'm happy to recommend them as a partner who I believe are ethical and have very good client service and very good implementation processes that will give you the best possible experience if you go along with them for Business Central. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Ross and Franz. They will go through their agenda for the day and enjoy the webinar. Feel free to participate, put any questions that you have in the chat box. We'll get to all of them. So without further ado, over to you, Franz and Ross.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Graham.
Graham.
That's fantastic. It's really great to be here today. Appreciate the opportunity, Graham, and thank you to everyone who's joined us today. As Graham introduced, my name is Franz Minich. I'm the Solution Sales Director at Cloud Factory, and I'm joined by Ross, who's our Managing Director. Generally, Ross does a lot of the lab coat work, a lot of technical background, and we're going to enjoy some of that today. So just a quick agenda from us. We're not going to spend the entire session in PowerPoint. Don't worry about that. We're going to get into the system and have a look at it. I'm going to do a quick introduction. Then I'm going to talk about planning for success, basically what the invite said. How do you know you've outgrown your systems? What is it you need to look for in a modern system? How you transform your business. I'll give you an overview of Business Central, then I'm going to hand it over to Ross for an in-action workshop, and Ross is going to jump in the platform and show us the goods. Then we'll discuss some next steps. So I hope that's a good agenda for everybody. I'm told we have people in the audience from finance to wholesale, possibly some manufacturers. We'll touch lightly on everything. Today, we're not aiming to go and show you how to double entry journal. Today, we want to show you what you should expect from a modern platform, really. All right, so a little bit about Cloud Factory. As Graham said, we've worked together a number of years. We've been in business more than 30 years. We have a team of roughly 30 consultants. We always add a couple in time to time, depending on projects. And our customers really are from startups to enterprise customers. As an example of that, one of our customers would be Kogan, who everyone would know, who when we started with them, were on spreadsheets. And that's the discussion today is, when is it ready to change your business system so that it can support your growth? We host user groups. Our Microsoft user groups being open to the public, general public, not just our customers. And you might have even attended a session with us. I invite you to attend the next one. We hold them quarterly. And that takes me a little bit to the systems that we support. And on the right of the screen, you can see obviously Business Central. This is what we're going to discuss today. Business Central in a very rich environment of what Microsoft used to be called Microsoft CRM. Today it's Microsoft Dynamics Sales, Customer Service, Field Service. Of course, the Power Platform with Power Automate, Power BI, Power Pages, all of that. A great Microsoft environment. We also implement MYB Acumatica, as well as WISE, which is a localization of some extra functionality for Australians on top of Business Central. And then we've been implementing SAP Business One since, I don't know, 16, 17 years. On Acumatica, we were actually the launch partner in country. We implemented the very first system way back when they launched. It's been an exciting journey. We bring only a few solutions to market because we feel that our solutions should be able to meet our customers' requirements, and these are the ones we're happy with. Planning for success. I mean, why are we here? How do we know we've outgrown our business systems? Well, it's been a couple of years, hasn't it? We've had pandemics that created all kinds of supply chain disruption, followed that by inflation, some tariffs and things, problems with China, some more inflation and interest rate rising. Currently, America imposing tariffs on all kinds of goods. We've seen a lot of disruption, no matter what business you're in. We've seen some customers of ours just absolutely thrive and grow, and we've seen a couple really battle. I guess it depends on your industry more. And but the reality is, right now, customers are buying differently. People are deciding different routes to market. We've got all kinds of legislation, outside influences. I think I don't need to say more. It's been an interesting time. So what do we do about that? For us, there are three things which are really crucial to managing a business: visibility, agility, and resilience. These for us are the three pillars. And if it's supply chain management or if it's a services business, you need visibility, agility, and resilience. So let's unpack those a little bit. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in slides, I said. I'm going to move pretty quickly. I mean, visibility. In this example, you've got supply and demand. You've got customers to service. You've got orders coming in through e-commerce. So you've got internal and external processes. And yeah, you have to have visibility across your business, or you're going to end up with unhappy customers. Something that's really key today, with so much online content and so many online reviews and so much competition, is if you lose a customer, you lose a customer. It's not like they have to come back to you if they find a better service elsewhere. Visibility is really key. Now, when we look at resilience, I mean, we've seen a lot in the last couple of years. I've seen customers bring their manufacturing back into country, getting redundancy through their supply chain. We used to talk about an efficient supply chain was a just in time, but nowadays it became just in case. And I guess by now it's a bit of a hybrid because things have settled. But by and large, there's been a lot of change in just where we source from, where we manufacture, how much stock we hold. We don't want a fragile supply chain. We don't want a disruption to break us and cause untold damage to our customers and our reputation. We want a resilient supply chain that we can actually bounce back from disruption without major issues. Better than that, we want an anti-fragile business or supply chain. We want the ability that not only are we not fragile, not only are we resilient, but we actually can take the opportunity that the disruption creates and thrive under it. And then we spoke about agility. Agility speaks to having the right systems in place. So you've got automations. So you can scale your business. You can scale up and scale down according to changes in market. And you don't have to rely on, if I do 100 transactions, I need to hire another person. The system should do your work for you. You should be managing your business by exception, trusting the system to implement your process and be able to rapidly scale up, scale down, collaborate with your suppliers, with anyone in your supply chain and in your business. So the latest technology and the automation that it brings and efficiency in your business gives you that agility. So basically what we're saying, when disruption comes, and in the last couple of years, disruption comes, it's not a question if, your ability to respond to that quickly through visibility, resilience, and agility means that you minimize the impact on your business. This area here, you minimize that impact and give yourself the opportunity by having responded first to take advantage of the market and actually grow and extend your customer base. All right, so we're talking about how do you know you've outgrown Xero, CountRight, Reckon, QuickBooks. I mean, these are beautiful systems. They've been well crafted for a finance role. And everybody starts on systems that are suitable to your company at that time, and you're going to grow. On the high end of the scale, we get solutions that are so customized and so expensive that we could never use them, at least not in the SMB space. And in the middle, we get this balance, this mix of solutions that have everything in one system, out the box, functionality across the board. And that's where Business Central sits, Microsoft Business Central. And that's what we're going to talk to today. All right. So how do you transform your business? I guess if you want a litmus test, have you outgrown your current systems? I would say, are you spending a lot of time in Excel? Are you spending so much time in Excel that you're moving data from one system to the next system? You're pulling data from various areas to report because you can't get reporting consistently out of one system. And you're having to capture the same data over and over again with the possibility of creating errors. If that's what you're doing, you've outgrown your systems, and it's time to look to a connected environment. A connected environment where you have one source of the truth. All your data is in one place. You can report on it. The minute you update one end of the system, the other end knows it. If I go back to a supply chain example, if you buy stock, should immediately affect your GL when it's receipted, when you sell it. Movement should reflect all the time. So you want the single version of the truth, complete visibility across the environment, and you want to be able to train your people once on one system, and they understand how to use it. So fewer systems, enable a mobile workforce, but at the same time, let's transform the business, higher availability. In the last couple of years, we learned we need to be able to work remotely. Remote collaboration is key. And of course, security has been something that has been really critical over the last while. Let Microsoft manage your security for you on an open standards platform. So what we're looking at, we're moving companies from, you could be online or in the cloud already, but largely we find companies who are on-premise, who are moving from an on-premise environment where you've bought a server, you manage your network, you manage your security. Look, there's advantages to being in that environment with high-speed networks and things, but you're also responsible for everything, backups, security, and all of those things. We're talking about Microsoft Business Central as a software as a service, Azure cloud solution. You pay a subscription per user, and you have a service which is backed up. The servers are provisioned. Azure provisions their services at no more than 60% of utilization. Anytime a cluster of servers reaches 60%, they crack open new servers. So you know that you've got excellent performance. You can manage that growth rapidly upscale or downscale as you need to do. And of course, you want Microsoft looking after your security and compliance, and then Cloud Factory support you with configuration and support of the environment. Just key to note here, Microsoft offer incentives for Microsoft on-premise solutions like Navision or Great Plains, migrating through to a cloud solution with Microsoft like Microsoft Business Central. So if you're in that situation, let us know. All right, moving on. We're talking about Microsoft Business Central, but I have to say and this was the key to Graham's slide, was a unified experience. It's not Microsoft Business Central in isolation. This is a modern platform. So Ross is going to show you, we're in Outlook, we're in Teams, you have access to your data. Or we won't demonstrate today, but you have a Power Platform for a portal or something like that, or you're doing your reporting in Power BI. It's all this unified experience. It's all in this one system, and it's all wrapped around with Microsoft's Copilot. Copilot, if you don't know, it's Microsoft's implementation of artificial intelligence. And it's doing real things. I'm under strict instructions not to talk about it too much today because Ross is going to show it. And he doesn't like it when I spoil everything he has to show by talking about it. So I'm going to move on from there and say, so you have this unified experience. Copilot is in all of those tools, but Business Central, Excel, Outlook, Teams, it's all happening. And what is Business Central bringing? It's financial management, project management. You've got your sales going, operations, services, supply chain management. It's a connected system. And if you don't use all of that, that's not a problem. You still simply subscribe to a single license. You get access to all of it, but we'll only configure what you need. All right, so I'm not going to read everything on the screen. You can see the little Copilot icons. Well, version 26 just came out, and we'll have to add more icons. It's just an example of bringing real-world solutions to your business beyond writing essays or doing marketing slides. Of course, finance is covered, solid core financial backbone. And as I said, we're not going to teach you journals today. Covers sales, all the fulfillment, delivery, purchasing, projects, supply chain, availability, inventory, services, wholesale manufacture. It's all covered in the solution. A quick example, if I was in sales, I could have orders coming through EDI. I could have a retail point of sale. We can cover all of that. I could have some e-commerce with multiple web shops with orders flowing in. I could have customer portals. This is where we have a strong solution in Microsoft Business Central. And then, of course, we have a couple of key partners who've built solutions into Business Central. So, for instance, the point of sale is built into Business Central. Things like mobility in the warehouse is built into Business Central, but supplied by partner. But suffice to say, a very strong API, modern solution. ezyCollect has an integration into Business Central, so it works seamlessly. When it gets to issuing invoices, receiving payments and statements and chasing up people who haven't paid, and all the other good things they bring. I'm not going to give an ezyCollect presentation now. It's all integrated perfectly into the solution. All right, moving on quickly. Of course, procurement. I've got blanket orders, purchase orders. I'm going to do my planning. We're going to do things that are typically expected in a solution where three-way match when goods arrive, that we can see that we've ordered 100, we only got 98. When the invoice comes, the purchase order was for one price, the invoice might be for another, and of course the different quantity of the goods receipt, or it all matches. And all the approval flows that go through that, and the ability to set up alternate vendors and so on, manages everything very well. The ability to plan based on demand, what should I be ordering? System handles it well. If I'm in the warehouse, again, I'm just going quickly through this to say we do it, and then I'll hand over to Ross. From simple warehouses where we can just not have to do picks, and maybe I have a shop front or something, and or a sales area, and I don't want to have to do picks and things like that. And then I have back in a different location or warehouse where I want very strict controls. Goods come in, they go into a receipting area, then they get put away. Orders have to be picked, then they need to be shipped, and all of those things. A good solid system, the ability to use mobility on it with warehouse scanners, and of course to do things like customer says, when can I get it? We can do order promising. If we're into manufacturing, bills of material, multi-level bombs, consuming components, different routes, machine centers, work centers, it does a lot. Capacity planning, Very good solution. And with all the version management, if that's your business, we can spend more time unpacking that. Just know the solution does it. All right, I'm just about there. Mobility in the warehouse. Mobility is always key. There is an app which you can get for Android or iOS, and of course, if you have people who are traveling, then they can use the app. It is any device that runs a browser. So if you have a tablet, apart from the app now on your phone, if you have a tablet, you can just bring up the browser or the app. And if you have internet connection, then you have access to your data. I spoke about Copilot. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the things that it's looking to help you with: guidance, finding things, comparing things, analyzing things, suggesting things. So it aims to do things like someone phones me and I need assistance, or there are repetitive tasks which are very manual and time consuming that an AI could do much better at. Or I'm just wanting to know what a customer did last or something like that. I'll leave Ross to show you those things. Suffice to say, it does a lot. It does all of this, and there is more in the new version. As soon as we unpack it, we can update our slide on that. All right, so lastly then, we spoke about visibility. You need to be able to see reports on your environment. Microsoft Business Central at the latest release has more than 70 Power BI dashboards like the ones being demonstrated here: finance, sales, purchasing, inventory. It really is incredible. The good thing about it, they built all the data models, and then that allows you, of course, to extend those reports and build your own. But in terms of reporting, this is only one of them. There's multiple ways to report in the platform. I think there's an excellent contribution from Microsoft for the platform. All right. I've gone a bit faster than I said, Ross.
Well done, Franz. Good job.
Hand over to you now to show us the magic stuff.
Perfect. So I'll just replace current share. Hopefully you can confirm. You can share my screen.
Yes, I can.
You can see it, yeah.
Yep.
And hopefully you can see a familiar application called Outlook, Franz. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
Excellent.
spent a lot of time in that.
So good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming on the session today. So obviously, Franz has just covered that there is a lot in the end-to-end business management platform, and with limited time today, we thought we'd just try and highlight some key things I think that Microsoft specifically bring to the table around things like unified experience and modern technology, and just showcase that, and we'll get into Business Central as a platform in a few moments. But starting as we do, as most of us still spend a lot of time in Outlook, I think it's important that we can showcase the Microsoft Unified Experience technology and how we interact there. So a few minutes on Outlook, and so you'll see that I've got, if you like, an inbound email from Franz, who doesn't say a lot of words, mind you, but it's a very simplistic, I need a quote kind of thing. But if we are thinking about inbound sales, customer service, interaction with customers, it's just really to show an inbound quote coming in that we actually have. We have Business Central embedded within the unified experience of Office, particularly Outlook, Word, Excel. We'll talk to some team stuff a bit later. But even before I actually get to my backend platform, for want of a better word, an inbound email allows me to look over the systems cross-check that you're already in my CRM as a contact in this email address, and we'll look to a couple of examples from there. And we can start to really interact with an Outlook and see some information that might help us have a communication or have an interaction with Franz that really helps us there. So, it could be even from a point of view of accounts receivable. Does Franz owe me a lot of money? How can we see what that information is? He's asked me for a quote, but as you can see here, I've already got a open sales orders here. So I might want to check, why is he, he's got another order already in the system. So this is live Business Central that we're going to have a look at in a minute, fully embedded as an application within Microsoft Outlook. So I get to see things like an open sales order. Yes, I'm just having a look at Franz's account before we start. We can see links to websites. We can see notes that he's a great customer to deal with, that sort of CRM capability. Before we start to interact, even the balance, you can see he actually currently owes around $3,000, and I can actually drill into even invoice. So this is not just CRM, which is what you see in a lot of the maybe ERP plugins you'll look at. We actually have an embedded experience that traverses different areas of Business Central. I should premise this is all security layer driven from the back end of having relevant permission sets to see relevant pieces of information. So clearly I'm in as an administrator at the moment, but really just to showcase that sort of overview. Now, what we can also do is I might want to go a bit further, because there's a lot we can sort of see down here, but I might actually want to see just some high level statistics for Franz. What's he been buying from me, values, what sort of customer is he at a high level before we drill in, outstanding aspects, the orders we've looked at. So just really that high level experience. And all the way down into having a look at sales analysis and stuff. So I'm not going to spend too much on here, but even quarterly changes by month, what he's buying off me, when he's buying it, just to give me an interaction of how I go back on this quote with Franz, potentially directly from within Outlook. So what we might do is we will just quickly quote. And what Microsoft does is have a look at, it's already looked in description of the email, and actually found some tags and descriptions of items that we've already got in the system. So it says, look, it even looks at 12 and 2 and says, do you want 12 Paris chairs and 2 Athens desks? And you can say, that's good. Yes, actually, I will have that. And we can start to build a quote maybe to get straight out to Franz directly within here. I mean, we can pop things out and we can link it directly into Business Central that we'll have a look at. But for this particular example, we'll stay within Outlook. And from here, we've got our quote raised. In essence, we could have a look at sending that quote directly, which is already in our ERP, and it brings up, uses some default email templates that are configurable. You'll see that it's got quote. We can open that, and obviously, any modern system, you're going to be able to look at layouts and have all your relevant T's and C's potentially on here. This is just demo platform, but really being able to do that. Just bring that up, and we could send that quote directly out to Franz. Sorry, I've actually minimized it, and we've went to, you've seen Business Central there at the back there. But essentially, we've now then sent our quote out the system. You'll see that it will be in this quote system here, down at the bottom. It'll be 1070 is the last one, and off it goes, waiting for Franz to interact at the other end. So I guess just as a bit of a starting point is that interaction directly within Outlook, which is a key system we obviously use day to day, and how that might work with our backend system. Okay, lots I want to try and cover today. So we're gonna jump back over and have a look at Business Central as a platform, and you'll see this is my presentation layer as I particularly log in into the system. Importantly, we have all this sort of different role centers that come out the box. I mean, as a business manager, you could be the inventory manager, sales and relationship, you could be part of the order processing team. So all sort of specifically, this is all out the box in terms of best practice use of different roles and areas within a typical environment to be able to present information that's particular to me. Okay, now actually one of the things, I realize I just didn't explain one more thing. If I did have an inquiry back on Outlook, just ever so quickly if I may, and if I picked up on David, the system is smart enough to say, I don't see David as a contact. Do you want to swap, because we are multi-entity potentially, to look at another company that we might have set up? We could have a look and see, do we find David? We could just search for David to see if we find anybody called David. No, we don't. And we could just add David Berry as a contact and link him to a company. So sorry, I wanted to see that that the system's smart enough to really live look at contacts within our database and been able to revise back. So if we go back over to Business Central, we had a look at our roles there. And again, within this, any modern platform you're going to have a look at, it's going to allow you to personalize. Maybe you are not relevant, you want to move these, you want to hide these within the role center. So still personable in terms of what you want to see in here. You can get to even see on things that you might want, if these numbers are yellow, amber, green, to be able to really personalize it so that it's live and visible. You'll see I've got different color coding of tiles, etc. Within the environment here. Yeah, so we'll start to impact it, but we can really drill into any of this aspect. We'll come back to have a look at some of the reporting aspects towards the end of the presentation. But if we have a look at this tile, as I say, everything is drillable. So if we went in and had a look at maybe our sales order list, got a small list here, but once we get into sort of this list, we can start to interact. So, you know, typical sort order scenarios that you would be sort of fairly used to. We might want to say, I want to filter only on a different order status, which is released. So I want to see all my orders that are ready to go out the door. And so just being able to sort and filter pretty easily within the system, but then being able to sort of save our various sorts that might be handy. So, you know, we just did, you know, open sales order, ship not invoice, ready to ship. So ready to ship is less than a given date that's in a release status. Just allows us to really control the lists that we're working with pretty easily. Again, if I wanted to personalize that, I could easily just say, well, actually, I want my status over here, move things around. Again, you don't want to allow everybody potentially to do that, because you want to give your users best practice and not have them moving things around. But the reality is that it's easy just to get the relevant filters. So I guess I'm in a sales order at the moment, but there's really any list within Business Central. I've picked sales just as the starting point, but if you were in procurement or you're in inventory or down in finance or AR or AP, these lists are all the same sort of filters, being able to drill in, you know, being able to, you know, have a view of that. You can see somebody's raised their hand. Is that Graham?
Graham has, yes.
Graham, you've raised your hand. Would you like to say something? Okay. I'm going to keep going then. He might have raised that by mistake. Okay, so I guess, so we've got this sort of filter capability or lists. And again, it just, in the context today, I just want to take this sort of further with the, I mean, even if we were on the side here, you can actually start to look at side panels. So if I didn't want to drill in, I can drill into this sales order, and we'll enter a sales order, and we'll have a bit of a look round that in a second. But even, you know, you see that without having to drill in, I get a lot of extra information of that sales order that I can pull in and basically contract out to help my real estate space. I could pop this out to another window if I wanted to, open it in new, I can bookmark it. So all really easy to interact. What I really wanted to kind of show a little bit of is this, what we call analysis mode. So if we had a look at what we're looking at here, we were looking at that list a second ago. Let me just hide these filters. And we have what we call, you know, analysis mode or pivot mode within our platform. So this is a standard list, and you can see that I've got various tabs in here that are helping me do, maybe I want to see order status by customer. So you'll see that for Adantum, I have 4 orders in a released mode and 4 open. So different ways that we can pivot around this information. Or if I'm multi-location, maybe I look after a couple of environments and I want to look at different warehouse areas or locations within my organization, or even down into sales by month. So I'm actually doing a bit of a summary here in terms of what my sales for this customer is by February, March, and all of the above. So being able to pivot and review information from a standard list, which we were on a little minute ago, and into pivot mode is something we bring into the platform. Now, just ever so quickly, just to show a couple of things, if we were quickly in analysis mode, I might just set up the example just so we can see it. But it really is just sort of dragging dragging down a customer, much that you'd be used to, doing pivot tables within Excel. So their example was sell by customer, and then the status was one that was sort of there. So again, I just quickly mimic it, and you'll see that we've got that set up really nice and easy. Yeah, so just an example analysis there of what we can do. We can start to pivot around it. So if you just wanted to see it grouped by, you see that we've got some amount and it's some shipped. We might not want that. We would take those two off, and we can actually see some by some amount, etc. So really easy to start working with pivot engines within the platform. You get lots of ways to filter only equals to given years and all of the above. But again, we think about that all over our platform, and when we talk to people about that, they would say we've got all that, but we have to export it to Excel. And we'll talk about how we interact with Excel just in a little bit as well, because we actually have a bit more dynamic interaction with Excel, as you would expect from Microsoft. So the main thing is to be live within the platform. Okay, so just take that one further, and then I might just say, I don't really know how to drag and drop. Maybe I want something more, but we can actually show amount. So I'm asking Copilot, show amount. What would I do? Yeah, we'll just do the same one. Show amount by customer name, by status, as an example. And so this is using just AI, I guess, as we're going to see this as I go through. And we're just going to talk about the fact that we're going to ask it live information, and it's going to break things down. We could keep it, we could discard it, and say, yeah, well, we'll keep that, and then we'll build on top of it. We could just say, show, what did I do the other one? Show value by customer. I'll just, grouping. Yeah, grouping document date month. I'll just have a look at that. Document date month on the columns. Now, the AI has to take some time to learn through. So you get some hit and miss, but the whole point is Microsoft are currently, so there you go. We got sales by customer over the February, March. And we can say, that's a really good one. We'll keep that, we'll move it along, and we'll put it into our overall status and share that with people. So the main thing around this whole involvement of just showing you a little bit of the AI and Copilot is Microsoft are literally way in front in terms of overall AI into their platform, but certainly from a business management and ERP point of view, they are light years beyond their competitors at the moment. So just really want to showcase that other solutions are doing pivots and lists and filters and all of the above, which is great. But really just to showcase what we are starting to see come on through within Business Central as a platform. So what we want to do is we actually just want to maybe do a quick sales order, and just really to show how a couple of things work within a transaction. We'll do a sales order. I've got time, hopefully, to do a purchase order and really show you that. So again, nothing to see here. List searches, pretty straightforward of anything you would do. We're going to pick a datum, my key customer, and so then we're in here. We can see typical things. I've got a customer overdue pop-up here. It could then create workflow and create the ability to either look deeper, or I'd have to get some form of approval process, potentially being able to proceed with this particular customer, and that's fine. You can see on the right hand side, much like we kind of seen on the Outlook side of things, that we can get interaction of what's happening here. So again, you could see I actually have got 9 open orders that I could drill into with this customer. If I really wanted to drill in, see a little bit more, I drill in and I can see that their master record if we want to start to have a look at some relevant information in here. But yeah, again, there's lots of ways that we can then report off and all of the above. So not going to jump into that here or see a lot of different aspects within the customer card. But what I wanted to show, even if you've seen, it was building it there, and it will build it on the sales order as well. But this summary preview is, again, Copilot looking and giving me some summary information of the customer. Maybe we want to show more. and it'll expand it, and we'll come back and I'll just leave this sort of up. But what it's doing is it can start to look and give me summary information on this customer card. So while it's building that, we'll actually go back to the sales order because we want to sort of work with this customer. You can see customer credit limits, payments received this year, profit based on indicating a healthy profit margin. Average collecting period stands at 143 days, which is not great, but obviously in a demo system that's typical. But this is where we end up with Copilot on the side, working that through for us. And again, from a real estate point of view, maybe we want to hide that and just work on our current sales order at the moment. So what we'll do is we might just interact with getting a couple of lines on a sales order maybe, and we can easily do the sort of browse for information, select from a list. I mean, no different to maybe we do a bit of chairs and we'll look up some stuff from there. Okay, but that's sort of look and feel. But what we can do, again, just introducing is sort of this sales suggestion. I mean, we have the odd client that gets maybe sent by CSV or Excel, and this is actually the AI engine that allows us to live drag and drop potentially before we get to the full EDI process that we do for a lot of customers. But even if we don't, we can say suggest line. And then a lot of what you'll see in here is you get prompt guides. So maybe I want to copy, maybe they've said, can I reorder what I got last time? So copy the last sales invoices for a datum. And we can say, okay, go get that. So it's going to, I didn't actually, there you go. Let's just discard that and we'll just say, probably already knew it was for a datum. So again, we'll copy from the sales invoice, and we'll see that they last bought some coffee pods here, and we can insert. Again, it's just a quick. Should that happen, they want to copy from the last order, etc. Maybe they did send an email and we haven't used the Outlook, or maybe they phoned up and they just want to say, what did I get from you last time? So again, it's just using perhaps some show me red chairs. So maybe they want a red chair or something. Oops. Only if you can type correctly. Although the AI is pretty good at picking up. Show me red chairs in stock. Might be a good way to generate that. So again, it's found a red chair, and we can insert that. Yeah. So that would be a way to interact with this particular sales order, and we'll come back to that in a second. I mean, there's lots on this page that we're not going to cover it all in the session I've got today. We're kind of showing, I guess, a live modern interaction, and we can go from there. I mean, I guess we could, what we could do is we actually can. You get lots of ways to find info. Maybe we don't know certain fields and we can ask things about it. So if we scroll down here, we can say we're trying to fill in, and we actually see that we don't actually, we know we might need to do a packing tracking number, but what does that mean in the context? So again, what you can do if we said I need to fill in this package tracking number, but I'm not really sure what it all relates to, we can ask Copilot on the side. So again, this is talking about not just smart using data, but if you remember, there was getting information or ease of use within a system. It's going to look up our help files, give you the packing, what's it used for, gives us one reference, and we can link over into learn.microsoft. So every sort of field, every area of the system is built in to say, hey, what's this used for? How does it interact with the rest of the platform? How do we look at this information? So hopefully that gives you an idea of sort of modern ease of use platform for self-serving of users or new people coming on board. I mean, we could just say, can you show me current chairs in stock as an example? And I'm not going to do AI all day, but it's really just to give an idea of what's going on here. While it's doing that, we might just see in our lore sort of scenario here, we get to sort of be able to look up, you know, maybe we've got different locations, maybe we don't have stock. You can see in my main warehouse, I've got 40 that I've currently got a gross requirement of 40 and live inventory of 145. So I've got an available balance of 105. So I've got stock, but we can drill in and we can see the audit moves of when we received stock, when have they came in the door. Okay. So it's really just a quick look in. We can look actually, if we were waiting to see things come in, we can see gross requirements. So you'll see that for my particular Laura Espresso, I sell a lot of coffee pods. You can see that people have been buying them in blocks of 10 and it's reducing my projected available balance. I can view it by day, by week, depending on planning horizons. And we'll maybe have a quick look at the requisition stuff in a second, where we can actually look to the setup within the system and have a look at some dynamics there. But even you'll see here that it's actually found inventory of my chairs 837. I got inventory 3 of my London, my Berlin. You know, you can even click to have a look at the item setup from within the side panel of Copilot there. So I guess in the sales order there, I've sort of shown various ways, both from a help or get information, a customer overview, have a look at some items, and really haven't left sort of the setup or the system here. Again, you know, if we were at a line level, just to just show, if we were at this line level, we can actually sort of see down without drilling in and out. This item got required 10, proposed shipment dates, what's currently available, units of measure. We can look at it again if we have authority, things like costing and all the stuff we've got set up within the platform. Okay, so I think probably that's all. I mean, we can do a lot of smart stuff, I guess, within the item without, you know, again, with the time I've got available today. We'll come back and maybe look at it from a replenishment point of view, but clearly there's a lot of things going on with groupings. We've got pictures that we might sync to things like Shopify, where we've got live interaction with e-commerce. You know, even, you know, drafting marketing with Copilot, you know, a regenerate with an upbeat tone. I can regenerate what it wants to say about, kind of looks at our attributes and our descriptions. So, you know, brew brilliance with every pod. Okay, keep that as a new one. So it's really just helping us interact. What you'll see with AI to this point with ChatGPT is a lot of it's the language modeling, which is what we're sort of looking at with the description stuff here. But Microsoft are really starting to get beyond it to use data within the context of your particular organization and environment, not just sort of that live advanced, almost Google language modeling stuff. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of there. Okay, so I think that's a good way to end sort of a sales order in the time that I've got available to me today. I mean, one thing from this point is without getting really into a couple of things. So we might just do that sales order ever so quickly, because that would be a good point just to maybe show there's lots of interaction once we're in this sales order, where we're not going to talk about the inventory so much here, but maybe to the point that a customer might say, well, you've not got stock. I do have stock of it, but you could actually, I think Franz might have alluded this earlier, but you might run our available to promise mechanism. And what it looks like is that it looks across the whole supply chain, whether you're manufacturing, it looks at mins, maxes, it looks at open purchase orders when they're due in, and it'll give you an earliest shipment date. And basically, if you don't have the stock, it'll put this into the requisition stuff that we might just have a look at just in a second. So again, I've sort of made a bit of a focus on sales and supply chain today, so apologies to the audience if you just do finance. Hopefully it gives you, it's more the idea of how we're interacting with data, visibility, all the stuff that Franz was alluding to as part of his sort of introduction there. So that's really, if we accept that to be the case, it will start to put that into our planning mechanism to say, that's the customers accepted that, and then if we didn't have stock, it would be picked up from a sort of requisition scenario. I mean, clearly we're then sort of looking at printing and sending and emailing. I won't go through all that. That's probably pretty straightforward for the audience that, you know, all platforms are going to be interacting like that. I mean, the typical thing would be that we would then release this, and that release status starts to invoke further, I guess, work and balance rules later in the supply chain, to the point that maybe we just bring up a couple of quick sheets that we can have a look. I thought I had it saved here, but maybe not. And again, maybe what we can do is have a look through things. Order fulfillment, we can look things up if it's not on our menu, as long as we have a look here. We've got things like fulfillment where we can see, you know, what should we be shipping, when. You can see things like I've got a sales order there that's only partly available, and it's because, if you can see down at the bottom, we've got some in stock but not the others. And so we've got mechanisms around, you know, does a customer take part delivery? Do they need to wait till it's all in there? You know, who are we sending it out? What shipping methods and agents? And that starts to really get a bit deeper into supply chain and all of the above, but not for today. But it's really just to show that sort of screen and interaction, color coding, what should we be doing? We can create the shipments, the picks, and all of the above that we work with there. Or even lastly, we'll have a look over quickly, more just to show some aspects here, that to join the other side, I guess, of the supply chain, we would then you know, start to say, I want to calculate a plan of what I'm doing. I need to look over the next couple of months. Are we looking at any sales forecasts? Maybe so we can set up sales forecasts in terms of forward looking about what we're going to sell, what, you know, who we're going to sell it to, that kind of stuff. So we're doing lots of stuff around that element within supply chain, but really we're then, you know, going to click on that, and it's going to generate what it thinks is a plan based on our items to say, you know, based on this is what you need to do. So if we looked at our Athens desk, it's saying, you know, we cancel that because somebody must have cancelled an invoice, but we need 305 Paris desks. And the reason is a lot of that's driven from our item to say, we've got planning, how do we plan for it fixed, lot for lot. There's lots of ways we can set up planning, safety stock quantities, mins, maxes, etc. So not for today, but really just to say we're based on a very solid end-to-end platform around supply chain optimization and the elements that, again, Franz was alluding to earlier on the platform. So I'll leave that there because I probably don't want to go down too many rabbit holes as sometimes I do today. Before we move on to purchasing, maybe I will just go into sales order, because maybe just if we were in the sales order and I'm in as myself, Ross, and I might want to interact maybe with one of my colleagues. Now, of course, I could go out of here, send them an email. We could talk about Teams, but actually what we can do is we could share. We can either copy a link, which we could paste into an email, but we can also start to look at this interaction with things like Teams and various things. So maybe I want to interact with somebody. I've got somebody called Contoso, and I could say, hey, Contoso, check this out. You know, give me your thoughts on this, or maybe maybe it's inventory. Can we get this sent out urgently? And I can advise. Now, it's just an example, but if we share that, so again, we're in that. Yep. So we've got that shared, and again, you probably want to see it, but I got auto pop-ups there, to be honest, but it came on my other screen. So I'm in this Contoso in my Teams environment now, and again, a couple of examples, but really, Ross has sent me that. Give me your thoughts. Can we send that? And I can basically link to it, and it'll take me straight to the record in terms of the sales order. So again, just being able to interact with the data without, you know, having to copy and paste or send in emails. Yeah. So that was sort of that interaction there, and I could just, you know, type back, all good, you know, will do, etc. I mean, if you're using Teams, that's all fine. We use, and hopefully you could spell better than I can. But that becomes part of that sort of channel. You know, we'll look at a couple of things, maybe if I've got hopefully the 5-10 minutes, but even even within Teams, maybe we go here. We can look to embed things like sorry, it's just timing me out because it's just Microsoft security, which should be. I've not like sort of rejoined and logged in. I mean, this is all built around MFA and multi-factor and things like that. But really in here, we can even sort of look to work within Teams. You know, we talked about unified within Outlook. We're able to interact with customers and items within, you know, within a Teams environment as well. You know, we can even, you know, start a post that we could add and have a look at customers. So, you know, if we looked at Business Central and we could search for a datum, now we can even sort of interact with our peers that I want to talk about, you know, Ross, you know, and we can say something like, have a look at, can you review this? Review this contact and record. Now, you know, that's just an example here, but it's really just being able to share information across the whole platform. So again, Teams to Outlook through Business Central is that interaction that I'm looking to try and show you guys as part of the audience today. We might take that a bit further just in a second if we've got the time, where we might just quickly jump over and have a look at the purchase side, just to maybe have a bit of an example on there, and then I'll finish off, have a look maybe at some reporting, I thought, to finish us off this session. But if we were over again, the purchasing side, we'll get rid of that. And very similar, you know, again, we talked about filters, we talked about being able to expand panels out to see various information, you know, across whatever type of transaction set we've got. But if I quickly put in quick order, it's really just to show an interaction, because we were in Teams. If I just pick up from a full list, we can have a look at something that's quite expensive. Yeah, Athens desks. We'll buy 10 of these. And again, you know, we haven't talked about location aspects, full bin code analysis within our platform. So, you know, we're really built around that end to end. But the session's more an introduction, and hopefully we can talk to specifics a bit more with the audience if this is well received. So this purchase order, we would then sort of go, yep, I want to, yep. So again, in background, we've got we've got approval processes where we can use it built into what the mechanisms within Business Central. So it can pop up on a tile, it could send an email. In my you know, in my particular example, we will what we'll do is we're going to send an approval request. And Franz mentioned that this overarching sort of automation platform called Power Platform from Microsoft. We're actually using that by way of a lot of interaction in and out. You know, I'm going to show you that in a second, what we've got set up there. But that could even be doing things like SMSs and things like that. You know, the Power Automate platform really gives us an open platform to be able to do anything. We've set up some ones to say that you know, once your shipment's confirmed, we can send SMSs through Power Automate, and you know, use a lot of third-party things like Twilio and stuff allows things like that. So there's lots of ways we can interact with different technology layers. Now you might have seen that I actually got a little pop-up for Contoso, who's sort of the manager of that. I mean, first of all, he would automatically have, he's going to get, by standard, we get an email coming through. That's fine. But what we wanted to show is the fact that in here we've sort of got it built in through Power Automate. We've set up to build into the standard Microsoft Approvals app, and it will automatically come through in Teams on mobile. You can be approving it on the mobile through Teams, and you can see that you could reassign that. You could, yeah, please proceed, and we can reject, approve, and this is actually doing it directly in a free approvals app that comes with Microsoft Teams. And I just actually got, it's very hard when you split screens over, but I just got a final status approved back to Ross over in my other side to say that that's now been approved, and we can now proceed. You know, that's going to be, if we went back into you see here, if we just come back out actually, because you wouldn't be in it, it's now in a release stage. It was in a pending approval before, and we can then actually start to prepare and send that out to the supplier and keep that going from there. So that's a way that we really control the workflow. And again, it could be standard within the tile environment where you've got pending approvals, which is easy. But we, that interaction directly out into communication channels that are being used within it makes it very much in your face, where it will come up even if I'm not within Business Central. Of course, we are still getting emails, but trying to use other platforms except for emails is something that we want to do as well. Okay. I mean, purchasing from there can go through a myriad of receipting, landed costs, various third-party aspects that we control. But really, just to finish off, I guess, on my spin on sort of automation and Copilot and AI and what Microsoft are doing. A year later on, we're starting to really look at what we call e-document servicing, where we actually can look to set up. I'll probably better showing you from the main screen, where we actually can sort of look to see when an invoice comes back in, we can upload that in, and we can start to look at Copilot, I guess, to generate matchings. Yeah, so it will start to look at open purchase orders with open AP coming in, and it can start to look at auto matching between POs and all of the above. So that's typically where a lot of AI can come in, because it is just matching logically to things where we've got imported lines coming in against open purchase order lines. And a final, I guess, example of that sort of dynamic is forever would be to use Copilot to generate on a bank reconciliation process. Yeah, it stands to reason that this is something that you want Copilot to. You see greens all auto matched. Excuse me, my bank statement lines to my ledger entries and all of the above, and it's matching that. And so you can start to look at using an AI engine to do what 80% of that is standard sort of manual matching, and then the 20% of the time that you can focus on the high value, which is the exceptions and the things that maybe needs human intervention rather than an AI tool to be able to provide. Okay, we'll have a quick look at reporting, but before we do it, we've talked about Outlook and being able to interact with our customers in Outlook, and I talked about how we look at some of the Copilot stuff within orders and suggest lines and interact, etc. And that would be another thing, and you've seen that here through this sort of interaction. You can actually ask what was Adatum's last order and all of the above. So we won't go back over that. But I did want to quickly show, and Franz mentioned about things being released all the time. Now, this actually only got released in preview a week and a half ago, so I'm loving being able to show today. But what we have is this mailbox is a managed mailbox, for want of a better word. And if you think about it for things like sales at or inquiries at, if you had it as an inbound mailbox that you might want to use in loads of ways, but I'm just going to show an example here where I've had an inbound for, again, a bit of a quote, a bit more wording around it coming in as a new quote request. And what we've got is this ability that's been set up called Sales Order Agent. And it's a sales order agent that we can quickly switch on and make active. We can link it to a mailbox. And so this is the next generation as we keep iterating by Microsoft every quarter at the moment. They're really building and going largely into the AI space, is the ability for it to monitor. So you might see that you see that I've got an email that's come in from Ross Gilchrist, and it says it needs attention. So it's monitoring the mailbox. You see I've already done some things here. But if we look at this email, it says there's a message coming. So we could just be working away here and doing whatever we need, and it says, oh, you've got something to review. So I'll just say review. It's already taken the email that came into the monitored mailbox and it's brought it in and it's stored it in Business Central as a record for us to interact with. It's already stored it against Ross and Adatum as the contact, and we think, okay, that looks okay. Yep. We could be doing, it could bring in attachments if they had a PO or some form of other reference that it wanted. And we're just going to confirm that, yeah, that's a fine message. So it's going to go away and do some stuff there, but we could probably in the meantime come back, because I really want to show things like Power BI particularly to finish. But before we get to Power BI, and I'm not going to jump in and out of them, we have such interaction with things like Excel, which probably going to run out of some time today. But that interaction where we can really easily get into, I mean, I don't know, there'll be things like customer top lists, and if we download, we actually can get plugins to Excel that are live and all this kind of stuff. So look, it's you know, you need to get your macros to enable content and stuff, but there's lots of ways where we're interacting with Excel, where we can write back from Excel. Lots of dynamics where it's building in, putting some pivots together, and you know, working on things like that. So that's sort of Excel. Excuse me, I actually closed my Business Central there. Oops. So we'll just quickly go back in because I closed that by mistake. But what it's done. So I actually went away, but it's still saying that I need to review that. So I've accepted the message, and now it's going to say to me, do you want to create a sales quote? Because that seems to be what the email's looking for. So I say, yeah, it looks like a sales quote. It's actually overlaid the three items that they've asked for and the quantity. And you see here, it says the sales order agent made changes to this page and is awaiting review. Okay, that's great. And we can learn more, and it's just going to say you can't proceed unless you confirm that. Okay, and so we've got a requested date. It brings in things like document numberings. You see that it's got, because in the email it said, can I have this then? This is my external reference number, and this is what I want to quote on. You can come in and you can confirm that. And so we've confirmed that. So let's go back to our daily business. So again, if you think about just a tool that is going to save that 80-20 or whatever it's going to be, you know, I'm not saying you need to review everything. It's never going to do things automatically. That the agents are there to be able to take tasks and ask you to confirm them. I mean, never say never in the years ahead, but that's how it sits at the moment. But as that's finishing off, well, it has just finished off. So message outgoing, we've prepared it. Okay, we've got a reply message, and it's saying, do you want to send this to Ross? Dear Ross Gilchrist, thank you for your inquiry. And you can use standard, I guess, ChatGPT and Copilot to do a lot. I mean, we're based on this template. It's using a little bit of AI. We write emails with AI. So you can change it. You do whatever you want there, but you'll see that it's got our sales quote that we looked at earlier, and we think, yeah, that's fine. Just confirm that out. That's fine. And so it's going to take that from BC. It's going to put it through the Outlook. It's going to store a record. The quote's in the system, and we can move on with other stuff. So that's sort of where we're getting in terms of sales order agents. And I say this is the first iteration that's over a week old, and I think it's great. And I think if we look forward 3, 6, 9, 12 months, we're going to see a huge part of these, what they call AI agents, coming in, particularly into Microsoft. I think that the other platforms be a bit slower because Microsoft, you know, they're owners in OpenAI and spending, you know, hundreds of billions a year on this. So we're very excited by what they're doing in this space to help effectively you guys, the end user, the audience, to work with data and work with the systems very efficiently. Okay, so just for a few minutes, I'm not going to run all these loads of reports, but you know, if we were going to look at reports, let's click all at the moment. I mean, there's 400 reports or whatever. I'm not going to concentrate on that, but we were looking at a little bit of sales today. So I may just look at a couple of what we got in terms of, you know, you'll see there's loads of standard reports, but if we just sort of picked up something like all the Power BI stuff that came through from, as Franz was mentioning. So these are all the models that we are, and for any of the audience that's using Power BI, these are standard reports, but they're built into the platform. We get our filters, we get our dimensional analysis, you know, sales overview. If we want to see just the Atlanta whiteboard, you can click on Power BI and it changes the top 5 customers. So that's the power of, you know, Microsoft's Power BI tools. We've been using it for over a decade, I guess, in other platforms as well. Just this interactive capability to be able to provide that sort of key stakeholder analysis. You know, we've got lots of tabs here: daily sales breakdowns. We've got, you know, period over period growth, sales by item. So again, these are all sort of interactive expansions, contractions. If you know, any the Power BI, as you hover over, you change a detail, it reflects. You know, we can do lots of different exports, move as tables, filter, and these models are available within Power BI as part of standard for us. So this has really been able to drive forward in terms of embedded and analytics. So again, Power BI is sort of at the top of that magic Gartner quadrant when they talk about it in terms of business intelligence and analytics tools worldwide. It's what loads of other platforms use as their core analytic tool. We're pleased to have that now. It's only been in the last 6 months, fully embedded within the platform for us to really look at, you know, various, whether it's finance, whether it's sales. As I say, it's all over. I was having a look at a nice purchase one there the other day where we got what was it? Purchase decomposition. I think I wanted it. Things like that. You know, purchase decomposition that looks at purchase amount through desks to chairs to who are buying it over a fiscal month, and the different visual capabilities to be able to present information is what Power BI really brings to the table. And we're very happy to have, as I say, those 70+ Power BI models built into Business Central as a standard platform. I think I might pause there. Doing all right. I think it's 12:15. I could, Franz, you know me, I could keep going and going and going. But I think for us today, we just wanted to sort of intro, look and feel some of the ease of use, the modern ways to use a digital platform, some of that modern AI that Microsoft are just groundbreaking on, and how it interacts with the unified experience. So I'm sure we got maybe some time for questions by me pausing a little bit early, or there's any feedback that you want to drive me into.
No, I think that's great. You've covered everything. And yes, I've seen you go all day. So I don't think there's enough time left in the day. We got a good taste for the solution, and we'll be available to spend more time, more specific to certain customers and under their needs. I think would be beneficial.
We got some questions from the audience that we run through. I'm sure there must be. Oh, I'd hope so. Yes. If there's not, then we've not done a good job.
Lovely. I'm going to do some next steps quickly.
Oh yeah, please.
Okay. Taking the screen. Thanks for that, Ross. You know, I get to watch you present often, and there's always something new you're showing, so that's always fascinating for me. I hope everyone enjoyed that, and there have indeed be some questions, and as you can expect, some questions around licensing, which we're always going to see. So I want to talk about a couple of next steps quickly. Not a lot of slides, 2-3 slides, and we're done, and we go to Q&A. So thanks for your patience. Just stay with us a little longer. So one of the questions I've seen is about, I don't know if I quite understood the question, but basically was talking about, I think it says, how do you choose a partner? So we're a business applications certified partner with Microsoft. That means, they call it BizApps. That means that we have access based on our certifications of business we do with Microsoft. We have access to offer you these incentives. So that's one of the things you would look at in looking for a partner. You want a BizApps partner. And these incentives that are here are basically Microsoft saying, look, we'd love to help facilitate, we'd love to invest in your business. And there's a couple of key things, and they've got a new program every year that they invest in. So one of them, which is very key, is called a needs assessment. This is where Microsoft will fund Cloud Factory to spend a day with you, working through your requirements, talking to your team, working out exactly what it is that you want from the system. Now, this helps us to compile a document which we present back to you with our findings. And basically, we're looking to see, is the solution suitable to the purpose that you require of it? As a company who's been in business a long time, we're very quick to say, if a solution doesn't work, we'd rather qualify out than to recommend a solution. This service is about spending the time with your team to be able to give you a more accurate estimate. This is what it would take to implement. Yes, the system can do the things we've discussed in that review. And we'd be very happy to nominate customers from this session who want to go through such a process. Very happy to do that. Another one I spoke about, there's on-premise to cloud migration for Microsoft to Microsoft solutions. That's another one we get access to. Another one is about once you finish the implementation, there is some rebate available from Microsoft, depending on the number of licenses you've bought, depending that you've qualified. Then there's a rebate. We've seen up to 35% of the implementation price come through as a rebate. So these are all incentives from Microsoft. The main first one, I would say, a needs assessment. Talk to us. I'll give you some details afterwards if you're interested in that. You know, basically, I think Ross has shown work smarter. I mean, you're busy doing work on the side and Copilot sorting stuff out for you. You want to automate things, you want to perform better. Digital transformation, it is a journey. It's going to change the way you work. Something that I personally find disappointing is when people come to us and say, we've done things the same way our whole lives. We want a new system that's got more functionality to do the old things. There's an opportunity to reinvigorate your process, to be more efficient, to use the best of the system. That's what digital transformation is about. It's a journey. Last slide from me. People always ask me, what do you find works or doesn't work in a project to implement new business systems? Key for us is that you have to find a strategy of what it is you want to achieve. It's very difficult when we're talking to customers who actually have no idea what they want to achieve. Have a clear strategy, and then understand things like complexity costs. And I just said it before, I wanted to do everything I used to do in a system I wrote for myself 20 years ago, or I manage in Excel. Complexity cost, pragmatism wins the day. Be open to see what new systems can bring for you, and understand that, like we've said from the beginning, visibility is so key. It's not a world of spooling reports. It's a world of seeing your KPIs on your phone. It's a world of seeing your dashboards and being able to drill into them and interrogate the data. We promote a cloud first, it's in our name, Cloud Factory, a cloud first approach. And we'd look for a vendor managed solution from, for instance, Microsoft as a good solution for your business. Something that really helps a project go well is that you help your staff to come along with, so you have that strategy and you share the vision, and we all work together to an outcome. That's what makes a project successful. Lastly, it sounds self-serving. Choose the right partner. Believe we're the right partner. We can talk further on that. I hope we've demonstrated today that we understand the solution. All right, so it is there time for some Q&A. I'm just going to find my way a little bit around Zoom so we can see. You know what, Ross, I can't actually find
Yeah, I've got it. Where's
Find
the
the
webinar chat?
find the questions while I'm in sharing mode.
We'll
So
just
there was
end sharing with them.
That's fair enough.
Well, I can read them if you want.
Yeah.
So I'll just try and whiz round for the guys. Do you have much presence in New Zealand, which came in? We have loads of many customers, Australia and New Zealand based. So typically head office Australia and then have businesses in New Zealand. But actually lately we are now we now have a growing presence in New Zealand through very recently, and so we are starting to be more active. So as I say, we have a lot of subsidiary New Zealand companies, and we are starting to branch and be more active within New Zealand as a core. So if that's where you're based, we would certainly be still of interest to hopefully chat through you as a partner. Maybe I'll go. Is there a partner for hire business? Well, yeah, actually, we're working with a great solution out of Europe, and we are working on a project, significant large project at the moment, Franz, yeah, on hire. And it's a fantastic option. One of the things, the Business Central effectively came, I guess, from many years ago, of a product called Navision, which actually came out of Denmark and stuff. So it's very strong long-term base of great solutions partners or these ecosystem that has some specific point products, and hire being one, and our retail one's another. So to answer the question, yes. And again, if you are strong in that area, we think we've got a great solution that's embedded in Business Central. So key for us is to not have sort of too many sort of individual add-ons that have to integrate. We want to try and bring the core ecosystem within Business Central as a platform. Okay, so hopefully that answers that. Just going to add some Q&As. Here comes the license and stuff. I thought that
Yes.
I forgot to. So do you need to have a Copilot license to use Copilot in BC or native in platform? I think there's questions on Copilot licensing, which is great. So at the moment, the Copilot I've shown you today is free and within Business Central licensing. Okay. At the moment today. I talked about the sales order agent that literally came out last week. And there's a big important notice when you set it up. I don't know if anybody's seen it on screen. I'm not going to share, but it says, I'll read it verbatim. In the future, your organization may be billed for use of the sales order agent. And we met the senior Copilot director for Microsoft last May in Bangkok. We're actually we're a big partner, and once a year we go out to Bangkok and meet some of the Microsoft guys. And he at that point said it's going to be free at the moment, but it stands to reason at some point there'll be higher commercial use within Copilot licensing and stuff. So the answer of the question at the moment is yes, but I suspect that will change. Now, I don't expect it to be the $25, $30 a month Copilot. Like we've got some of those licenses, as you would expect, that you can buy through Office 365. Microsoft have went quite big on consumption modeling, particularly on Copilot. Only in the last few months, they've started to go pay as you go in terms of Copilot and stuff like that. So I would imagine that they'll either go pay as you go, or they will bring out I don't think they'll bring out a license to say per user, because it might mount up. I think they really will, with the Copilot and AI, go quite consumption based. And I think it'll be fairly low cost, to be honest. So it'll be, time will tell. The little points we've had so far have been all preview things dropping in. You've got to remember that everything I've shown you today is in the last 9 months. And there's this ramp up that eventually it will get to what they would probably consider a commercial. We're at a stage where we think the benefits is such that there'll be that license capability. So hopefully I've roundabout and answered it. We simply don't know, but I would imagine it will be commercialized at some point in the future. We probably know more once we come back in May when we meet Microsoft. Franz, if you get anything else, just add in. But I'll just, I'm conscious of, so that was sort of Copilot. There was then, if we talk licensing, just about Power BI, which is a great question as well around Power BI licensing. So you need a Power BI Pro license to be able to deploy the models in the first place. So you need one user to be able to join, because it is, Power BI is a platform that you then, if you like, you're going to put your credentials to be able to put it into the front end of Power BC. Yeah, so you need one Power BI Pro, And from then, once you've deployed, the users do not need a paid Power BI license, unless that's changed, Franz, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. You just need one, and I can't remember. Power BI is maybe $20 a month or something like that. So it's pretty
25, yeah.
25, pretty good bang for buck on that. So again, you need one to be able to join the dots, as it were, in terms of an Office 365 Power BI through the Business Central, but then the users can consume from there. Okay, there was one on service tickets. Sorry. I see them. So service tickets for service-based businesses or agent for that type of thing. Oh, I'd love one in the future. So we have a service module. So there's a service module within Business Central as core. And sometimes on the bigger end, we work with field service, which Franz would have alluded to in a slide. But at the moment, like everything that sometimes happens on automations, sales is king sometimes. So a lot of it starts in sales automation, but it stands to reason that service is also quite that front end that would benefit, from that sort of automation there. So I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything that's dropping soon, because I think they'll cover it off in here. But it stands to reason they want to push it out further. I would say maybe procurement goes next. Maybe there's an element of service I need to see. But at the moment, because it's so new, they're really wrapping it around that unified experience and sort of sales engine.
I can just add to that. And so under Dynamics Customer Service, there is quite a bit of Copilot going in there.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a separate module, but it's all integrated. But under the Dynamics Customer Service, there is a fair amount already.
So a couple of questions, and I think that runs us out maybe to 12:30. I'm sure Graham might want to jump in to finish us off, but I see that there's one. How does it interact with HubSpot sales tools? And in brackets, assuming it can. Well, I mean, Microsoft has its own best in breed sales tool called Dynamics Sales. So Microsoft are not falling over to do HubSpot integration, but there is HubSpot integrators that have already integrated into Business Central, and Microsoft's got this huge app source environment. So we got some HubSpot interaction in our own organization to look after our websites and stuff like that. So we've been across HubSpot for years. Obviously, Microsoft as a standard connector is only going to focus on dynamic sales because they're self-serving to do so. But yeah, I've seen some connectors where typically when you get to CRM, you're talking about customers and contacts going up and then quotes coming down kind of thing is what I'm saying. The last one before I hand back is rental and sales business. How does it manage higher rental contracts? Well, that's the solution we work with. It's a higher specifics sort of extension to standard Business Central, where that's exactly what we're doing: hiring and rental, returning, booking, availabilities, and all of the above. So we have a what we'd call a last minute or point solution that sits within Business Central that goes into key verticals, and that's a key vertical. So we'd definitely be open to Franz or one of the guys to chat further on that. I think that got me through all the chat, and it's 12:28, and we're normally way over, Graham. So I think we've done well.
Yeah,
might just pause on this one now.
All right. Look, I'd just like to thank everybody for their attendance. I hope you got as much as I did out of this. I'm always amazed what BC can do and how it integrates into the ecosystem of Microsoft. So I think it'd be well worth looking further at it and getting in touch with Ross or Franz. Once again, I hope you all got something out of it, and I really appreciate your time, and have a happy Easter.
Perfect. Thank you everyone for their time today, and thanks, Graham, for coordinating this.